You know I've traveled near and far, see the shining sea. I've seen a lot of places and people that were nice to me. One place that's in my heart, and this is how I feel. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. She's nestled in the sand hills on a river called Fayetteville. Special to so many who proudly served our country here. She was named for Lafayette and known for cotton mills. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. Babe Ruth hit his first one, heard around the world. Sherman marched with the Union and burned the arsenal. Old Market House still standing, but stands for freedom's will. I'm talking about my hometown, Fayetteville. My hometown, Fayetteville. I'm so proud to be from here. It don't take long when you're away from home to find out how you feel. It's always good to come home to Fayetteville. My all-American city, Fayetteville. Talking about my hometown, Fayetteville.
Mr. Rod, I think we've got some monitors that aren't working. I'll call this May 8th, 2017 Fayetteville City Council meeting to order and ask the Apostle Karen Evans of New Life Ministries to come up. Please lead us with an invocation and then remain at the podium if you would afterwards. If everybody would please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Greetings to you all tonight. We do thank the Lord for being here. Let us pray. Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your loving kindness and your mercy that you have bestowed upon us to be able to come together in this meeting. And Father, we just thank you, Lord Jesus, for all that's going to take place here tonight. We ask for your guidance. We ask for your strength. We ask for peace and unity, oh God. We pray for those that have to make decisions. We ask that you give wisdom, give knowledge, and give understanding. And Father, we pray right now that everything would benefit not just ourselves, but everybody that's a part of the city of Fayetteville. And Father, we just thank you right now because we know we can do nothing of ourselves, but with you, all things are possible. So God, we give you praise, we give you glory right now in the name of Jesus, and we ask you, Lord, to let this meeting be successful in everything that will take place. And we give you praise, we give you honor, and we give you glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Apostle Evans, tell us something about the New Life Ministries and your mission.
New Life Ministries is a non-denominational church that I started under the direction of the Lord in 2002. I've pastored churches overseas, doing with the military, come back to Fayetteville and started this church in 2002. We started in Hope Mills. And we grew that location. We ended up on Murchison Road across from Colvin Funeral Home. We've been there for 10 years. And our mission is to just serve the people of God, serve the people in the community, and just to bring unity and togetherness in the community and help those. We do have where we serve food, we give clothes away. We have food that we serve or give out to the community. And we've also been blessed recently to purchase 16 acres of land in the Hope Mills area, which we're trying to just build, facilities. We have a transitional home. So our mission is not just to help the people of God, but help those all in surrounding community of Fayetteville and Hope Mills area.
Well, bless you. Thank you so much for leading us our invocation this evening. Council, I'd like to take a 2-minute break and let staff work on fixing this monitor. So just stand by, please. All right, Council, first up on the agenda is our Assistant City Manager, Jay Reinstein, with a presentation from the Golden Leaf, or information in reference to Golden Leaf.
Will be a Hurricane Matthew update as it pertains to Golden Leaf. Something is happening here. Great. All right, Mayor, members of council. The city, as you probably are aware, were awarded 2 grants, one for Rayconda, which is Pinewood Terrace Extension, and also another one for Cross Creek debris removal. The one for Rayconda is in the amount of $922,000, $491, and the one for Cross Creek debris removal is in the amount of $300,000. Total grants that we received with this during this first phase was $1,220,049. Once these projects begin, just so you know that the Rayconda project we hope to begin in mid-July. And let me get Rayconda on here, which you will see on your screen. And then we also hope to begin early in July the Cross Creek debris removal, as you can see on your screen. Here's some of the good news. We've also proposed 3 additional grants, and we've sent in the proposals on May 1st for 3 different projects. The first project are multiple creek debris removal, and you will see those creeks are Brandon, Blunts, Hybarts, Branch, and Buckhead. And we submitted a grant for $993,000. We have been talking with the Golden Leaf folks pretty much on a daily basis. They were, as I said, submitted on May 1st. We hope to have site visits toward the end of the month where the Golden Leaf folks will visit the 3 sites, and then we hope to hear back by June 15th on an actual award, and we're hoping we get all 3. The next one that we proposed was Spruce Street Phase 2 drainage. And as you can see on the screen, oh, actually I went too far. All right, maybe Spruce Street is, I'm in the wrong order here. Oh, anyway, well, we had Spruce Street, and that is a drainage issue, and we're asking for $873,000 for that project. And then finally, King's Grant. Why am I having, there it is, King's Grant. King's Grant is for a alternate connector, and we're asking for $787,000. The total of the 3 grants will be about $2.6 million. You should know that in the state of North Carolina, Cumberland County or the city of Fayetteville and also Robeson County were the 2 counties that received the most dollars in Phase 1, and we're hoping to be able to do that in Phase 2 as well for that additional $2.6 million. And as I said earlier, we hope to get award notification by mid-June. So just wanted to give you an update. We're moving in the right direction. And any questions?
Yes, we have
Yes, sir.
Councilmember Hurst.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And District 5 is concerned about Kings Grant, District 1, so I thought I would ask this question. In the packet, it didn't clarify. Of course, we have that alternate route entranceway through around the church. Are we talking about the backside, a separate entranceway? Or is that the alternate route in?
That is the alternate route. I think what we planned on doing is once we identified that route, we were going to possibly meet with the community and talk to folks. I would defer to Councilmember Jensen on that.
You're talking about College Lakes community neighborhood or Kings Grant?
Kings Grant.
All right,
Would you like me to answer?
please,
Yes.
if you don't mind. So it's not a alternate route in the backside of Kings Grant that goes all the way through College Lakes. It's a separate. Okay.
Correct.
Thank you.
Was that your question answered?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right?
Thank you.
Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Jay, for this report. Great work. But I'm concerned, I just have a question about the priority of these jobs and how these were selected for the grants, because we have a big problem with Chestnut Hills. That area, and I didn't hear anything about the Chestnut Hills area. Those creeks down there, it's been in bad shape for a long time.
So what we did was we had a list of projects, and the ones that were not reimbursable by FEMA were the ones that ended up on this list. I can't speak specifically to that project, but if it is a mitigation project, we can't fund that in the first two funding processes. If it's a mitigation issue, we would have to consider it for the third process, which would be June, July. But again, that would be something that we can talk about and we can take a look at it. But
The reason I wanted to mention it because I need you to put that on the list and prioritize that in some way. That creek has been clogged up, and since the Matthew storm, it has been worse. And so we've had previous problems there. So I know now I've get a lot of feedback from the residents in those areas. It's a low-lying area, so I think we need to really look at that, okay?
we'll definitely take a look at it, sir.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Colvin.
Mr. Reinstein, kind of follow up to Councilmember Wright's point. Can you send us the projects that you all submitted to the Golden Leaf
Absolutely.
and how you determined which ones were eligible and which ones were not?
Sure. I worked with Rob Stone, Christoph, Bauer, and what we were able to do is identify those projects that were, again, not FEMA reimbursable, and it was a much shorter list, and these were the projects that ended up on that list. We were very fortunate to build that relationship with Casey Ginsburg of Golden Leaf, and they helped us determine which had the best shot of actual funding. And the three that we presented this time, and then the two that we received funding for on the initial go-round was based on our conversations with Golden Leaf. But I'd be happy to show you the list of the projects.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Einstein, thank you very much. I
you.
don't see any further questions. Great presentation. Thank you. Council, at this time, I'd like to give the floor to Councilmember Bill Crisp, who has a very special recognition to make.
Mr. Mayor, this is not my personal platform. However, I do want to take just 30 seconds, recognize my wife. She's at home probably looking in. I feel that we probably should be at Chris's Steakhouse eating dinner, but instead, in my dedication, I'm here on City Council. And I just want to say to her that I'm very appreciative of the 57 years of marriage that you have given me, dear. Thank you.
Need to prepare a proclamation for you, don't we? Council, at this time, I'd also like to recognize Brianna, who's here as a member of the FCYC. Tell us something about what your involvement is with the Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council and how you ended up here tonight.
Okay, well, I serve as the financial planning chair of Fayetteville Cumberland Youth Council, so I'm in charge of the fundraisers that we put on, including the Glow Fest that we're going to have on September 16th this year. And I've been in Glowfest, not Glowfest, I've been in FCYC for the past 3 years. And it has been an awesome opportunity for me, and it has definitely opened a lot of doors, especially for college scholarships and internships and things like that. Thank you.
Council, at this time, we'll read a proclamation that will be presented by the mayor to City Manager Hewitt and staff. Mr. Hewitt, this proclamation has been prepared. It says, whereas during Public Service Recognition Week, we honor those who dedicate themselves to ensuring America's promise rings true in every corner of our country, and we recommit to upholding the values they fight every day. And whereas celebrated annually during the first week of May since 1985, Public Service Recognition Week is a time set aside to honor men and women who serve our nation as federal, state, county, and local government employees. And whereas city employees and volunteer members of our boards and commissions work every day to help the residents of the city of Fayetteville and our visitors enjoy the routines of their daily lives in a safe, clean, and pleasant environment. And whereas without these public servants at every level, continuity would be impossible in a democracy that regularly changes its leaders and elected officials. It's therefore hereby declared by the Mayor of the City of Fayetteville this May 7th, 2017 as Public Service Week 2017. And also, Mr. Hewitt is joined by Mr. Tragos, CEO of Public Works Commission.
You know, between the Public Works Commission and the City of Fayetteville, we've got over 2,000 employees that work every day to make sure that your life is as comfortable as it can be in a public servant arena. And we're very blessed to have the dedicated employees as well as the dedicated leaders that we do in the city. So thank you for doing what you do every single day. At this point, I would like to recognize Justin Nobles, who's the Vice Chairman of the Fayetteville Firemen's Relief Board. Mr. Nobles, if you'd come up and give us a report on some of the activities that the Firemen's Relief Fund has been up to.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor and Council, thank you for the opportunity to come and speak on behalf of the Firefighters Relief Fund. Again, I am Captain Justin Nobles with our Special Operations Division within the Fire Department, and also the Vice Chair for our Relief Fund Board. A retired Fire Chief, Chief Nichols, is our chair, but he's currently out of town enjoying his retirement. So, give you a quick background. Some of you were here, I think it's been about 2 years since we reported, so we want to give you a quick background. Relief Fund was enacted into law by legislation in 1907. Its initial purpose was to financially assist firefighters who may have been injured while rendering service to our community. It was funded by a percentage of tax paid on property insurance premiums. In 1984, the General Assembly amended the statute to allow additional expenditures to local funds. These funds can provide educational benefits to firefighters and their dependents and otherwise qualify for benefits from the Firefighters Relief Fund, as well as provided assistance to destitute firefighters who have served honorably for at least 5 years, as long as no hardship was at fault of the firefighter, such as poor investments, unwillingness to work, and etc. Such provisions include, but are not limited to, assistance with housing, vehicle or community expenses, food, clothing, utilities, medical care, or funeral expenses. The City of Fayetteville, as well as other fire departments within North Carolina, must meet annual requirements to continue this fund. Become eligible to receive these funds, the fire department must be rated and a member of the North Carolina State Firemen's Association. We also must submit a financial report and submit a fire condition form, which would give a copy of all of our members. And all this has to be done each year by October 31st. The Firefighters Relief Trustees is comprised of 5 people. 2 are elected by the fire department, 2 are elected by our city governor and body, and 1 is appointed by our insurance commissioner. Currently, the board is made up of Chief Nichols, our retired fire chief. He is appointed by the insurance commission. Myself, as the vice chair, Captain Tommy Warren. Both of us are voted on by the fire department. And then we have our treasurer, Ms. Cheryl Spivey, and retired battalion chief Calvin Bishop is our other two members. Chief Majors acts as our ex-official and of the board and assists in all our efforts for the board. Both our deputy chiefs, Chief Hill and Sifford, are both active and supportive in our meetings. They both attend, and we keep them in the loop. And then Miss Bobby Bethay, which is our administrative assistant, she is also our secretary. There's not a whole lot to give as far as report, but everything's good, and we appreciate your support.
Good. We appreciate you guys doing what you do every day.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
you, sir. At this time, I'd like to ask the board chairman for the Stormwater Advisory Board to come and give the annual report of what's going on with stormwater. And Mr. David Guy and Mr. Rob Stone.
All right. I appreciate the opportunity to present tonight. As the mayor said, I am the chairperson for the City Stormwater Advisory Board meeting. This is our 2017 annual report. Let's see. My name is David Guy. I'm the chair. Lynn Brown, who is not present this evening, is vice chair. Then we have three board members, Charles Jones and Dan Travieso, who are in attendance, and Faith Chima. I did not see her this evening. Let's see. First off, the purpose of the Stormwater Advisory Board is to provide guidance and advice to the City Council pertaining to the Stormwater Management Program. This includes but is not limited to program activities, functions, systems, management, and funding of the program. The Stormwater Advisory Board also fulfills a public involvement mechanism that the state requires for the stormwater permit. The committee consists of 5 members, all appointed by the council. They're 2-year terms, and you can serve up to 2 terms consecutively. We meet the first Tuesday of every month at 5:45 in the Lafayette Room. Our responsibilities include providing advice and guidance to staff on stormwater-related issues. We hear updates on the current programs and projects that they are undertaking, and we consider appeals of fines when needed. That's not something that we've had in the 7 months that I've been serving. We provide feedback for the programs and activities of stormwater, and we provide feedback with regards to the ordinances, procedures, and administrative manual changes. Stormwater consists of a 2-part program. The first is quality. Quality is mandated by the EPA and also by the state. That's the state, North Carolina DEQ. Used to be DENR, but now it's DEQ. And then the quantity portion is up to the city ordinances, and that's to help to deal with the actual quantity of the stormwater to prevent flooding. The program is funded by a stormwater fee. The city receives no money from the state or federal government. The stormwater fee generates the revenue to cover the quality and the quantity portion of it, and also enough to pay for the permit compliance, other infrastructure needs, and any emergency needs that may arise. The accomplishments of the board, we have spent a good bit of time. As y'all know, we've come in October. We had a lot going on with Hurricane Matthew, so that's taken a lot of the attention. But we have been heard presentations from the stormwater and engineering staff on different programs. We've discussed different things with staff, and we've kind of got a good understanding of the permit requirements, and we've kind of given some advice and some feedback to the city staff as well. Goals for the remainder of this year and the remainder of our terms. First is to look at car wash enforcement protocols with mobile car washes. The second one is to look at the method by which watershed projects are prioritized. We also are interested in a work study program with local universities. Also, review the methodology for prioritizing stormwater projects. We would like to evaluate the effectiveness of the current stormwater ordinance. And also, we would like to see the council approval for changes to the administrative manual be something that is required. Any questions?
I don't see any lights. Thank you very much, Mr. Guy. Appreciate you being here. Council, as a point of order, the agenda and sheet that I was going off of is not the published agenda, so we will jump back over there now, being able to eliminate items 7.01, 7.02 at this point. But at this point, Council, I will go to item 5.0, which is the approval of the agenda. This is on the published agenda, not the...
Motion to approve.
Second.
Was that Mr. Moan and Mr. Wright? Motion by Mr. Moan, seconded by Mr. Wright. Is there discussion? Seeing none, Council, I'll ask for your vote, please. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. Council, item 6.0 is the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Mr. Crisp.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve consent agenda with the exception of item 6.05 and item 6.011 and the explanation of 6.05 and a vote without discussion on 6.011.
Second.
All right. Motion by Mr. Crisp, seconded by Mr. Deviere. Does anyone else want to pull any other items?
Mr. Mayor, I do have a point of clarification. So for 6.01, we're going to vote with no discussion?
Mr. Councilman, with all due respect, I think we've beat it to death in discussion already.
Okay. Okay, so we have two items pulled. Any discussion? All right, seeing none, Council, I'll ask for you to approve the motion, which was Mr. Crisp, and who seconded your motion?
Kurt.
Mr. Deviere. Approval of the agenda.
Approval of the consent agenda, last item 6.05 and 6.011 with no discussion.
Okay.
For the record.
Madam Clerk, that is a 7-3. Councilmember Arp, Councilmember McDougal, Councilmember Moan voting against. Those in favor, Councilmembers Crisp, Councilmember Deviere, Councilmember Wright, Robertson, Colvin, Jensen, and Hurst. All right, at this time, I'll go back to Mr. Crisp.
Mr.
6.05, please.
If it pleases the city manager, we would like to have a brief discussion for our viewing and listening audience on 6.05 as to what that single-family rehabilitation loan pool encompasses.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Thank you, Mr. Chris, for an opportunity to brief the public on a grant that the city of Fayetteville has received in the amount of $150,000. This grant is for the purpose to assist our residents who have sustained damage from Hurricane Matthew. It is a grant from the North Carolina Housing Finance Agency. Has a long title. It's the Essential Single Family Rehabilitation Loan Pool Disaster Recovery Grant Award. And basically, this is to help fund some of the repairs for single-family houses that were damaged. We are in a position that once we spend that $150,000, we can go back to North Carolina Housing Finance Agency for additional funds. One of the not requirements, but one opportunity that we have is for those residents that may not have been eligible for the program that we already have in place that council was so gracious to allow us to have, is that the residents that are over 80% of the median income would actually be eligible. So this grant will allow us to go up to 100% of the median income. And we realized that there were some residents that applied that may not were eligible at the time. We will be doing marketing on the program that would acknowledge the fact that there are higher income levels that would make a person eligible for this particular program. And tonight's item is to actually fund it locally, and of course, as we spend, we'll be requesting reimbursements from North Carolina Housing Finance Agency.
Is this only open to owners of the dwellings, or those who are renting, are they eligible as well?
This particular grant is only for homeowners, and it is, the reason that it says essential is because it's only for those items that are essential for the house to be habitable. But the previous program that council put in place is available for homeowners as well as investor owners, and we have had some takers on that particular program from both homeowners and investor owners.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Crisp. Mr. Coleman.
Mr. Sharp, just so the public knows about it, the money that you referenced that the council had approved had criteria in it because it was federal HUD money, right? But a portion of that was general fund dollars. Was all of it on that 80% median income requirement?
What we have used so far, yes, has all been at the 80% of the income requirement.
Is that same requirement, I guess is my question, for the general fund dollars that was put into there?
Right, we used the whole program.
Whole program.
All of the
80%.
program was for 80%.
And finally, just so they know, with hard numbers, what is the median income level here? Because this program, you said, is for people that are at 100%. What is that number there about? Just so the general audience can.
So for the 100%, we're talking roughly around, for a family of four, a maximum amount at a little over $52,000.
So folks, if you $52,000 or so, you come get this money, right? If you had hurricane.
If you had damage from the hurricane, correct.
See no further questions. Thank you, Mr. Sharp. I like your bow tie, sir. Mr. Crisp, item 6.011. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. We do
Mr.
need
Mayor, if I may, I would move to approve the adoption of the Capital Project Ordinance Amendment 2017-37, emergency repairs to, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. I move to approve item 6.05, adoption of Special Revenue Fund Project Ordinance 2017-7 for the Essential Single Family Rehabilitation Loan Pool Disaster Recovery Grant.
Second.
Okay, heard Councilmember Wright. Make sure your wife knows you're here. Appreciate that, Mr. Wright. That's the Crisp Wright motion. Council, is there any discussion? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. All right, Mr. Crisp, item 6.011.
In regards to 7.011, I wish to amend my motion to allow discussion. I think it would be unfair to our council members that may have questions or statement to ram a motion down their throats that does not allow them the opportunity to speak. So I amend my motion to allow discussion.
Very good. Mr. Crisp, that's protocol anyway, so anybody that wishes to discuss may. 6.011, would you like to have that item addressed? You want Mr. Trago to talk about it, or what's your wishes?
I wish to make a motion, and then if there's a second and discussion, then at that time there'll be discussion. I move that to deny the recommendation for PwC's fleet parts outsourcing.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Crisp recommending against. Seconded by Mr. Deviere. Further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I would, just for clarity, I'd like to know why we're recommending rejection.
Just for clarity, I don't have to tell you why I'm recommending rejection. It is my prerogative to state
No, that's
motion.
fine. I'm just asking. That's fine. Thank you.
However, I think you do know.
Well, we're always intent on making sure the listening public knows, so, but I'm good.
Well, I didn't want to go into it, but
Mr. Chris, of course, this has been discussed at the work session as well as
it was discussed in a
upstairs at the
closed
dinner
session,
meeting
and
and
that's
closed
why I
session.
didn't want to
so-
go into it.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? All right, seeing none, council, I'll remind you, a green light is in the affirmative that will deny. All right, all those in favor, or please everybody vote at this time. Madam Clerk, that vote is 7-3 to deny. Those in opposition, Councilmember Arp, Councilmember McDougal, Councilmember Moan. Those in favor of disapproving, Councilmembers Crisp, Councilmember Deviere, Councilmember Wright, Robertson, Colvin, Jensen, and Hurst. And as we discussed previously, we've already done item number 7. Item number 8 is the public forum. This is the time that Fayetteville residents may have input and a voice on what goes on within their city. Due to policy restrictions, the forum will last no longer than 30 minutes, and each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes to address the City Council on issues related to the City of Fayetteville. Individuals wishing to speak at tonight's public forum should have signed up with the City Clerk prior to the start of tonight's meeting. If you're here to speak on an item that may be on tonight's agenda under the public hearings, we ask that you reserve your comments until that time. So when you hear your name called by the City Clerk, we ask that you come to the podium and clearly state your name and home address for the record. Then when you see the lights located on the podium change from green to yellow, you have 30 seconds left to speak. When you see the red light come on, your time has expired. And again, due to policy restrictions, we are unable to extend that time for you. So with that being said, Madam Clerk, please call the first speaker.
May we have 5 speakers this evening for public forum. Our first speaker is Mr. Richard Giddens. Mr. Richard Giddens. Okay. Our second speaker for this evening is Mr. Jose Cardona.
Welcome, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, ladies and gentlemen of the City Council. Brianna, that's the name for my 11 grandchildren, my granddaughter. Mr. Chris, when I left here, you was really feeling under the weather. Sir, I pray for you every day, believe it or not. And I'm glad that you are feeling good. Today I come to touch some subjects, I hope. Yes, sir. Jose I. Cardona, I live at 233 Edison Street, Fayetteville, North Carolina, which has been for sale for now 10 months. Can I get rid of it? I already pumped $50,000, $60,000 into it. If you want to buy it, come and get it. But anyway, I want to touch some items. I might touch some things I don't want you to touch, but I heard a story about some food trucks that want to set up downtown for free gas, free water. Sounds good to me. They do it in most of the city, or most of the states, but they tell them you're going to charge higher price of what you're selling. In other words, if a hot dog costs normally $3, you're going to pay $1.50 to the people. Other thing that could happen is, Mr. DeVere, you own property downtown, and Mr. Hurst, you keep a track, or you don't, okay? Well, you used to, maybe a long time ago, okay, no more. All right, I'm wrong. So anyway, those people who own business, they could keep track of the festivities that go into the polluted festival park. And then at the end of the year, during the month of June, when you guys are doing your yearly budget, boom, take the money out. It's very simple. There's also in the news about the city manager wants to raise our taxes, house taxes, and also taxes on the waste, debris, and so forth and so on, and recycling. Does anybody in this council right now can give me an amount of how much we collected last year on the recycling? Nobody? $84,000. And it was divided between the waste management and another department that you got down here that you activated that probably has an assistant to the assistant to the assistant. $84,000 is not enough to even buy a truck. So why even have the program? The people in the city like myself, we dump a lot of cans, recycle, paper, you name it. So why even have a program that doesn't work? I also heard that you want to recycle this place, you want to spruce it up, you want to remodel it. 2-3 years ago, that building across the street was available to you guys for nothing. You could have tore it down, and with the money you're going to spend to rebuild this place, you could have built a brand new city hall. Shame. All nonprofit groups, I have told you before, in this city, in this town, that are under the control of this council should be audited. should be audited. And if they have anywhere over $1 million in the bank, LD access should be pulled out into a balanced budget. I thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Welcome back.
Mayor, our next speaker is Miss Lindsay Wofford.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Is there a way I could get this so everyone could see it?
Certainly. Hand it to the clerk, and she'll pass it around for you. Oh, did you want it on the screen?
On the screen.
If you would like that, yes, that would be actually.
Mr. Roberts will help you do that.
Good evening, everyone. I'm sure you guys can guess what I'm here to talk about. Homelessness, again. If you guys can see on the map that I have up, there is some highlighted sections up there. That area is off of Person Street between North Water Street, I believe, and North Broad Street. That is city-owned property that's highlighted up there. Last week, one of our homeless camps was evicted from this property here. I'm not sure if it was because there are some plans for that property now, if it was because of the garbage, which is understandable. That's a big issue. We've actually helped clean up camps to keep them from being evicted, or help them move when they are, told to move. The only problem with that is when these camps are evicted out of these areas, they're still the people that don't go anywhere. They move a block or two down. And then they call us and ask for their tents and things like that to be replaced. So they don't magically disappear. The problem doesn't go away, it just moves to a new location. So we need to figure something out to resolve that. A lot of people say, why don't they go to the shelters? Some do, but if you look just at the numbers, there's not enough beds to house every homeless person in Fayetteville. The 2016 point-in-time count, there were 515 homeless people that lived in our city. And granted, a lot of people, that count takes place in just a couple of days. A lot of people don't want to be counted. So that number is actually pretty low. And at that time, there was 224 that were sheltered in the different shelters or transitional housing available. So that left over 290 people without a bed in a shelter or transitional home. And it might seem like a small number, but one is one too many. 21 of those were children. We actually had a big fight with getting a few children. It took us 4 days to get 2 kids off the streets last month. So I think we need to come up with solutions for that, because what we're doing is not working. I also have to admit, I am not sure when it comes to our veteran homelessness, it is at functional zero. I have not done the research to find out what functional zero means, but I know it doesn't mean zero, because I speak with them every day. Just yesterday I was talking with a man who served 8 years in our Air Force, and he's been living in a tent for almost 3 years now, I believe. He's a very smart man. He's willing to work a program. He just hasn't been able to get into one. So actually, there are a lot of people who are willing to work programs. We spend a lot of time in the camps. We go out every week making deliveries of simple things like clean underwear and clean socks. We spend hours in the camps, under the bridges. Is that my time up? Oh. Well, thank you, guys. I will be back next time. I will see you. I will be making meetings with most of you, but thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, our next speaker is Mr. Charles Matthews.
Welcome, Mr. Matthews.
Good evening.
Welcome back, sir.
Honorable Mayor and City Council. I'm Charles Matthews. I mean Charles Matthews. Not the same as Hurricane Matthew. I live at 3618 Tyndall Court, Fayetteville, North Carolina. I looked at the location for your sports complex on Bragg Boulevard. It is a good location. But you can no longer go through Bragg Boulevard and go through Fort Bragg on Bragg Boulevard to north for 87 when you want to go north. Murchison Road is a direct route to points north on Highway 87. right off Merchants Road on Shaw Mill Road is a large location for a new sports complex. There's a very large area, over 200 acres, across the street from two major businesses. There's a gas company and Marvin Allen Doors. This location is large enough for expansion later if need be. It is close to 295, better known as the outer loop, and is very easy to ingress and egress. Also close to Fort Bragg. I ask you to take a good look at this area before you make your final decision on the location of the sports complex. You shouldn't just rubber stamp everything that comes from the planning and the city manager. Sometimes the city manager put out false information. This area is also next to 20 acres the city owns. Bond here closed his mixing plant and did a great job of cleaning that area. I'm not accusing any of you of being lazy or not doing your job. I know Mayor Pitts and his crew brought some of you into the city by annexation. Please don't hold that against the rest of the city by kicking the can down the road on your annexation. I ask you to do something good for District 3. We need annexation, parks, walking trails, and greenways. We are part of the city also. May God bless you and the city of Fayetteville.
Thank you, sir.
Mayor, our final speaker is Miss Brenda Peterson.
Ms. Peterson, welcome.
Hello, my name is Brenda Spearman Peterson. I live at 713 Centennial Parkway in Raleigh, North Carolina. And I'm here to speak in behalf of the cold case files. My sister was murdered in October the 2nd, 1987 in her home. And I've tried to open the case up. This will make the third time. But I was told to start here with the city councilman because they have, they're only going to open up, they have one position open, and it will not open up until maybe August because they don't have the manpower to pull anyone off the police force to work the cold cases. But what I'm here for is I would like for you all to just, if you could, please, maybe put 2 more detectives with that one detective because it's just so many cold cases. And I'll never give up. I really would appreciate it if you would just give more help to the cold case files. Like I said, and my sister, like I said, she was murdered in 1987, October the 2nd. And I'm a little off right now because her daughter, her only daughter, just passed away Saturday. And I'm still struggling with that. So would you please give us some more help on the cold case files? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Peterson.
Ms. Peterson, can we inquire as to the name of your sister?
I'm sorry. My sister's name is Sandra Spearman Rohne, R-H-O-N-E.
And the date again?
She was born February the 11th, 1959.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Prayers are with you.
Mayor, we have no further speakers.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We'll move to the public hearings. Item 9.01 is consideration of resolution of closing a portion of Maiden Lane. Welcome, welcome.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and members of City Council. The city has requested to close a portion of Maiden Lane pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 160A-299 for the assembly of the property for the proposed ballpark. This portion is shown on the map enclosed in your packets and on the screen. North Carolina General Statute requires that a public hearing be set, and on April 10th, 2017, Council set that public hearing for tonight. The Real Estate Division has published the notice of the public hearing in the local newspaper, provided the certified letters to give the notice of the public hearing to the adjacent property owners, and posted the property to be closed as required. Does Council have any questions for staff?
Thank you, ma'am. Does that conclude the presentation?
It does.
Thank you. Mr. Hurst to Ms. Parker.
Thank you. I told her I'd have a question for her. The point of beginning right there for Maiden Lane, is that where the roundabout is at the library and Ray Avenue?
Yes and no. Yes, it is at the roundabout, but it's further down. We went 50 feet off of the railroad right-of-way, so it's way off of the roundabout.
Thank you.
Ms. Parker, will this eliminate access to that rear parking lot behind the AIT building?
No, sir, it will not.
So they will still have access?
Yes, we went further down so as not to block their access.
Great, thank you. And I know that is a city parking lot, if I remember correctly.
That is correct.
Will they be without that parking lot at some point in the future, or will that sort of remain there?
I'm not sure that it will remain as exactly as it is now, but as I recall on the last plan that I saw, which I guess is probably the latest, there is still a parking lot back there.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any more questions for Ms. Parker from council? Okay. We will go into the public hearings at this point. This is for individuals wishing to speak. Should have signed up with the city clerk prior to the meeting. 15 minutes will be allowed for each side of the public hearing. However, individuals wishing to speak are limited to 3 minutes each. Time used in response to a question from the city council will not be counted against you. So, with that being said, Madam Clerk, please call the first speaker.
No, we have no speakers for this item.
Okay, great. Thank you, Ms. Parker. Great presentation. Item 9.02 is a public hearing on a, oh, yeah, I guess we do need to take action. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Council, since there was no further questions of Ms. Parker, does anybody have questions? If Mayor Pro Tem, you want to make a motion?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that we agree to grant a resolution for the closing of the portion of Maiden Lane as presented by Ms. Parker.
Seconded by Mr. Wright. Further discussion? All right, seeing none, council, I'll ask for your vote. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. 9.02 is a public hearing on a bond order authorizing the issuance of limited obligation bonds to finance City Hall renovations, selection of bank to provide the financing resolutions, and making certain findings, and request the local government commission to approve the financing. Item 9.02, Ms. Cheryl Spivey. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. This item has multiple steps to it. My presentation will follow the proceedings as they've been presented to us by bond counsel. So if it seems like I'm getting long-winded, some of the things I'm required to bring up. The first part of the item is to hold a public hearing on the financing that we've proposed to do. Just as some background, on February 8th of 2016, City Council approved a resolution to reimburse City Hall renovation expenditures with tax-exempt financings. And then on April 24th of 17, City Council called tonight's public hearing to receive comments on a financing agreement, limited obligation bond, not to exceed $5.5 million. This bond would reimburse the city hall renovation cost and possibly refinance certain outstanding financing agreements. The security would be a deed of trust granting a lien on city hall, and the notice of public hearing was published in the Fayetteville Observer on April 28th, 2017.
Thank you, Ms. Spears. Good information in the packet. We appreciate you comparing all the different bids. There are several questions up here. I'll start with Mr. Crisp.
Ma'am, you said other outstanding debts. As I look at this, the preponderance of that would be to finance the renovation in this building, but then I'm understanding that portions of that bond may be used to pay off the existing debt on the last fire station we built.
Yes, sir. We, when we put the proposal out, it had it had the options of new money, which is the city hall financing, and to refinance some of our outstanding obligations if there was enough savings within the refinancing. There is not enough savings in the refinancing, so the ultimate proposal we'll have is to only use this to fund the renovations for City Hall at $1.9 million.
5.5 million?
It's gone down to $1.9 million.
It's down to
Yes.
1.9.
Yes.
So we're going to do a bond for limited obligation bond for 1.9.
That's correct, sir. That's the recommendation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Crisp. Mayor Pro Tem.
Ms. Piper, he kind of touched on where I was going with this, so just to make sure I'm clear, if it's going down to 1.9, why is it said not to exceed 5.5?
Because the public hearing was called to be held for the 5.5. After the public hearing, it's coming back with the findings resolution and the recommendation.
Okay, so this is not correct, what we have in our packet.
This is what the public hearing was called to entertain.
Okay, so, all right, so the 1.9 is going to be used for the first floor renovations, or will it be repayment for the renovations that we've cash flowed?
Repayment for third floor renovations and some minor renovations.
So can you give me the differences? How much was spent on the third floor renovation?
About $1.7 million.
Okay, and where do we get that money from?
It was as I said in 2016, when the project was beginning, there was a resolution adopted to use the city's cash to fund it. So that's where the money came from.
So we've cash flowed the renovations because they're complete.
Right.
And now we're going to turn around and borrow it to pay ourselves back for cash. Does that make any sense to do that?
Well, that was the resolution that was approved.
Yeah, I understand that,
yes.
but we found the money to pay for this as we went, PAYGO. And now we're going to borrow money to pay ourselves back?
Well, for cash flow purposes, we used cash. The funding source is a financing.
I mean, I understand the difference between paying cash and borrowing the money. My question is, when we borrow this money and float a bond, there's costs associated with it, correct? And interest, correct?
There are.
Okay, so it obviously didn't impact our cash flow to the point of where we can't function because we've done it already. So my question is, you as the CFO or maybe for the city manager, why should the taxpayers borrow money to pay back ourselves?
The money was used out of fund balance. It was budgeted. It's budgeted to be used with financing. So we would have to do a budget amendment to use the cash on a permanent basis.
Maybe me and you are not on the same page. So, Mr. Manager, can you help me with understanding why we are borrowing money to pay back ourselves for something that's already completed? Because now we got presented the proposed budget the other day, and our cash reserves are above the targeted goal. So why should the taxpayers pay interest on money for something that's already done?
Yes, sir. It's as you may recall, and as we'll be happy to cover in part of your budget work sessions as well. We have a capital funding plan. It is financed through a variety of different ways. One of them is by us borrowing money, but we do a reimbursement resolution for those things that she said where we've already cash funded them. It is just a manner in which we're able to fund projects as we move forward. If the council's interest is not for us to do a limited obligation bonds for repayment of the first floor, third floor we'll be able to come back with some other options. But without doing some additional detail right now, I'm not sure how that would impact other elements of our capital funding plan and our strategies that we have with some of the other elements of the budget. As you'll recall, during last year's budget session, and we'll probably cover it this year as well, we will borrow money against things for which we have collateral to also help us pay for items for which there may not be collateral involved. And so this very well could be that, but without us spending some time to go back and take a look at what may slide left or right, I wouldn't be in a position to answer the question fully all the way down to probably the level of detail that you're interested in tonight.
Okay.
But I also think, and I was not here when I think a decision was made about whether to finance the pool and then whether, or to cash fund the pool. I can't remember all of those, but I do recall that was some of the history of this project as well that I had heard about. But we'll be happy to get that detail out for council. And unless Cheryl says differently, what we would recommend is that unless council feels uncomfortable, just to hold a public hearing. And then before we come back with the actual findings resolution for the limited obligation bonds, that would give us an opportunity to bring this to you at a work session. Would that, and June 1st work session.
Thank you, Mr. Colvin. Mr. Crisp?
Mr. City Manager, sir, I'm a little confused, as I'm sure some of our viewers may well be. Did we or did we not take cash from our cash reserve and pay for the renovation of the third floor?
Yes, sir. With the understanding that at some future date, we will be borrowing money for the complete renovations of City Hall, and we would be reimbursing ourselves for the work we did on the third floor.
Now, the question that I have is, what are we planning on renovating, the second or the first floor?
First floor, then we plan to look at the second floor as well.
Okay. What is your estimate, ballpark, of what it's going to cost if we renovate the first floor to make it more customer friendly, roughly?
Christoph, do you have any sense of what the budget was for first floor renovations? About 1.5 plus $1 million.
About 1.5.
Plus, yes, sir.
So if we borrow 1.9 and put that back in the reserve, how are we going to pay for the first floor renovation?
As part of this limited obligation bond as well, is it not for us to predict?
Not sure I understood your question, Mr. Crisp.
Let me put it this way. We borrowed money to pay for the third floor, okay? And now I'm finding that we had said that we would at some point borrow money to put that back in the reserve that we took it from. However, now we're about the business of renovating the first floor to make it much more customer friendly, and our estimate is about 1.5 for that. And the bond that we're talking about, the limited obligation bond, is about 1.9. So if we take the 1.9 and put it in the general fund or the reserve, how are we going to pay for the first floor? Why are we, if we're going to borrow, why don't we just borrow to pay for the first floor?
Okay, I believe I understand your question. The reason we're using a mechanism of a limited obligation bond is the collateral is City Hall.
Oh, collateral.
Okay, because the third floor is already done, and we need to, if we're going to reimburse the city funds. Okay.
I got it.
Okay.
We're borrowing money based on the money that we have as collateral.
We're borrowing with the collateral being City Hall. So that's
right.
Yes. So that's the security that the lenders will have. And because we're doing this, the construction in multiple.
And City Hall needs to be free of encumbered debt, right? to borrow money as, using it as
It's
collateral.
already free of encumbered debt right now. We didn't borrow for third floor yet. We used cash from the general fund. So this first action is to, borrow the money to reimburse the general fund's cash. So there's not been a financing yet.
And then we're gonna borrow money again from the cash reserve to fund the first floor renovation?
We will have to borrow some because the local government commission requires that all the bids are in prior to allowing us to issue debt.
Okay.
Therefore, it almost makes it impossible to not do the renovations first using our own cash and then coming back
then-
later
okay,
and reimbursing.
Thank you. I understand now.
Thank you, Mr. Chris.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mr. Mayor.
Art?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Hewitt, Ms. Spears, what year was the money that we took from the general fund?
Would have been, the work started in 2016, I think. It was not underway when I came back in 2015.
So 2016 funds, and money that's in the reserve, that's one-year money, right?
No, if it was encumbered as part of this capital project ordinance or the resolution that Cheryl did, it has a time limit, would have a time limit on that unless it was renewed or something else like that. But I'm not quite sure I'm following the
Well,
question on that.
I'm not quite sure I understand why we're reimbursing the general fund through a loan. That's the part that I don't understand. If we use 2016 money, for example, in the budget brief the other day, I asked a question about the fact that we got a 12.3% reserve. And I asked the question, shouldn't we look at the option, I mean, we need to look at all options of using part of that reserve to not do a tax increase this year? Well, my question is, if this money comes back into the budget, where does the money go? If we borrow the money to bring the money back into the general fund, where does it go?
Well, these expenditures for the City Hall renovation were not in the budget as cash. They are in the budget as the loan proceeds. We temporarily, with the reimbursement resolution, used cash. It's not a budgeted item, more like a temporary use of the city's general fund cash to do the renovations with the understanding that we would come back and do a finance.
So from an accounting standpoint, we didn't use the general fund's money, we borrowed the general fund's money.
That's correct.
An IOU,
So it's a loan on the books,
loan proceeds.
and so you need to clean the loan off the books.
It's,
Okay.
And that, as it relates, and we'll cover this when we get to the budget presentation, in the budget book, there are some limitations for use of fund balance, and one of those would be for recurring expenses and things like that, but we'll cover that a little bit when we get to the budget presentation.
Mayor Pro Tem Colton.
I don't want to belabor this, but I'm looking over these bid proposals from the banks for the borrowing of it. And the debt service on there, if you went with a 10 years, $214,000 a year to pay this note back. For the 15-year, it's roughly $150,000 a year. And for 20 years, it's about $127,000 a year. So my question is it prudent for us, being that we've paid this out of the fund balance reserve, to start making debt service payments before we have a project teed up? I mean, because you said we're borrowing this for future projects, right?
That's one clarification. We're borrowing this. We will do more than one borrowing on this limited obligation bond. That's why we're using a limited obligation bond, because we only have one piece of collateral, which is City Hall. But we had multiple projects to renovate City Hall. Rather than doing it all at one time, it was done in multiple. So this first phase, this first financing is to reimburse for the third floor financing. Then we will once we have bids in hand for the first floor financing, the plan would be to come back and ask for a second financing to finance the first floor.
So I guess, Ms. Bobby, I understand what you're saying, and the cost of issuances of some of these are anywhere from 75 to 85,000, just the fees to close the loan, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So, does it make sense to do it in multiple stages? Or if we have the cash to do it, you can't do one that pays us back? I mean, are we in a position where it's going to cause us a cash flow issue? Because like he alluded to, state minimum fund balance is about 8%. We got a city goal of about 10, but we're carrying about 12.3, and that's cash reserve. So does it make sense to do these multiple layers? Are we charged these issuing fees every time you come back and do that?
Yes, sir, we are. Where we are now is because of the way the construction was done.
I'm taking that out of the equation for a second.
If we had done it as one project at one time, it could have been one financing.
Okay,
With
but
one
now
s-
we're paying $70,000 and $80,000
set
per
of issuance
issuance,
costs. Yes.
plus the interest on this money to do it in multiple stages when we have the money in the bank. So how are you recommending approval for something like that?
Well, it really is, as Cheryl was saying, is how the project was set up. In an ideal situation, the recommendation I think that everyone would have made would have been that we would have come up with a plan for the entire building, first through the third floor. We would have vacated the building and we would have moved back into the building. That's very similar to what happened when the building was opened in, was it 80-something? I can't remember the year. Is that it was empty, you renovate it, and then you move back in. But to minimize the disruptions that we have in moving out limited numbers of folks, that was swapping some folks over to Festival Park Plaza and then moving people back, a decision was made at some point in time that we would do it floor by floor. We are there at the moment where we are ready to complete or start really heavily the design on the first floor to do that customer-focused approach. And this is the funding mechanism that we have identified. If there are other options, now that
What I'm
Cheryl's
saying,
here, we'll take a look
Mr.
at
Hewitt,
those as
is
well.
if we have the money to complete these different phases without an issuance and then issue it at once, so you got one cost to do this deal, why is that not an option? I understand what the process that was started prior to you getting involved. However, if we have the money to do first floor renovations and to complete that, why can't you do an issuance to repay us back for first and third floor?
Sir, I believe I can answer that. Whenever tax exempt financings come with certain requirements. One of the requirements is if we're using tax exempt money, there's a limitation on how long we can go between spending the money and finance and borrowing. And that difference is from the first expenditure, it can't be any more than 3 years. Well, there were some expenditures before the first of 16. But yes, yeah, we can say, yeah, if it's for 3 years, it would be what?
What's your estimated time of completion for first floor City Hall?
We have not completed the design as yet. I think we are not even, I would say not even close.
So would it be more than 2 years? It mean 2 years, so it'd be more.
And that's part of the reason that we haven't finished it as well, is some of the same staff members. We were also delayed a little bit by the Hurricane Matthew, which also put some of those employees from a flooded workshop we had across, it's not Lehman Street, Alexander Street over here as well. But we will turn back to it, and I pray it won't take 2 years. But tonight, Mayor, I'd be happy to answer any questions. Again, tonight is just for a public hearing for an amount not to exceed 5.5
Yes, sir, you're going to get some questions. Mr. Arp, then back to Mr. Moan, or over to Mr. Moan.
Now, listening to council's questions tonight, say we go ahead, have the public hearing, and then bring this to one of our budget workshops where staff has, they're explaining. That way there's not a vote tonight. We got a budget workshop for the next 3 Thursdays, and this is a perfect one to come back to, like when we go over the CIP, you'll see which one's cash funded versus finance funded, debt funding, and this was one of them from last year, but that'd just be a recommendation.
I'll second Mr. Moan's motion.
Well,
We got to hear the public
Yeah,
hearing.
it's public here.
Yeah.
Okay, did you want to speak again, or are you done?
I was going to say the same thing Mr. Moan said, but
Great. So let's start the public hearing, Madam Clerk.
May we have no speakers for this item?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right, we'll close the public hearing. Council, somebody want to make a motion to bring this back to work session? Is that the Moan Art motion? Okay, any discussion? That is coming back to a budget work session, all right? All those in favor, press your button. All right, Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. Thank you, Ms. Spivey. Mr. Hewitt, item 10.01 is the consideration of asset transfer of 15 phased-out Panasonic Toughbook laptops from the Fayetteville Police Department over to Spring Lake Police Department.
Yes, sir. We have Assistant Chief Petty.
Well, as you know, we've got a relationship with Chief Kimball out at Spring Lake, and he approached us some time ago to see if we could assist with some laptops due to budgetary restrictions they're having. We checked our inventories, checked with IT. We still had the Panasonic Toughbooks. That particular laptop, they're over 5 years old, so they're in the shelf life is upon us. In order for them to keep up with technology, they have, and I'll have to look at this because spindle drives. One of the things that Chief Kimball's going to have to do is replace those with hard state drives, solid state drives, in order for them to be efficiently used for their agency as well. When we check with IT, they're no longer under service contract. They're sitting on the shelf waiting to be surplused, and they are not in top physical shape because they've been utilized on the road for 5 years.
Mr. Art?
Mr. Mayor, I'd move that we approve the asset transfer of 15 Panasonic laptop computers that have been phased out to the Spring Lake Police Department in the city of Spring Lake, North Carolina.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Hurst. Seconded by Mr. Wright. All right, any discussion on the motion, council? Seeing none, I'll ask for your vote, please. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. Thank you, Chief Petty. Item 10.02 is the adoption of capital project ordinance amendment 2017-38 to appropriate a grant award from the Golden Leaf Foundation for Rayconda Connector Project. The adoption of a special revenue fund project ordinance 17-8 to appropriate grant award from the Golden Leaf Foundation and transfer from the general funds for the Cross Creek debris removal and award contracts for the construction of the Rayconda Connector and the Cross Creek debris removal. Deputy City Manager Christoph Bauer.
Thank you, sir. I feel like most of my thunder has been stolen by the presentation earlier by Mr. Reinstein, and I just came up we wanted to make sure that you and the public were aware of the grant funds that we received. I do want to thank Mr. Reinstein and actually Jerry Dietzen, who has come back as a contractor to assist us in writing these grants. But with that, I'm available to answer any questions you may have.
What is the timeline on that Rayconda connector?
Well, after you award the grant, we believe we can move forward with that Rayconda connector fairly quickly, sir. So hopefully we'll get started on that this summer. End of July.
Okay, great, thank you. Councilmember Crisp.
Mr. Reinstein, as I look at this, we're talking about the Rayconda connection to Pinewood Terrace. That's $1,215,731. And then for the Cross Creek tree, the removal and debris, almost $714,000. And then for the Rayconda PWC reimbursement grant of $920,491. And then for the Cross Creek Award, $300,000. All that's grant money from the Gold Leaf, right?
So to address your question, Councilmember Crisp, there was an appropriation made in 2015 by City Council in the amount of $900,000 for Rayconda, for the Rayconda project. When we received the award, we identified additional costs, so there's an additional $300,000 or $400,000 for the Rayconda project, and an additional $400,000 for the Cross Creek debris removal project, which are about $700,000. We're going to return about $200,000 from that original appropriation back to the general fund. So there is some, we have some skin in the game as well with these two projects.
So total, how much in total did we get for these 4 projects from Gold Leaf?
We got $1.2 million for the Golden Leaf for Rayconda and Cross Creek debris removal.
Okay. And so you're going for more grants, as you stated earlier.
About $2.6 million in additional grants for 3 additional projects.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Reinstein, Mr. Powell, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? Council seeing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve the adoption of the capital project ordinance amended.
Thank you,
Amendment
Mr. Wright. Did you want to second that one?
2017-38.
Exactly.
Were you fixing to do it, Mr. Wright? I said.
Seconded by Mayor Pro Tem. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, council, I'll ask for your vote, please. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. Council item 10.03 is a recommendation of FY 17-18 budget and setting of budget public hearing. We have some dates for the work sessions already scheduled for May 11th, May 18th, and May 25th. Staff is asking us to set the public hearing for the budget on May 22nd, 2017. And not to take any thunder, did you have a presentation?
I do, Mayor, but it can be as brief or as long as council would like, but I can. Okay. I want to start, as always, when I come before you, I'm giving thanks for the hard work of the staff. In particular, I would like to recognize Tracy Broyles, Director of Budget and Evaluation, and Assistant Director Kelly Colberth, as well as our budget analyst Mary Beth Grinberg and Chris Wilkerson as well. As I shared with the council during the small group meetings, they have done a phenomenal job of taking what they hear, you talk about it, a strategic plan, all the gobbledygook that I also talk about, and putting together the document that's in front of you and is also available on the city's website tonight. But in the interest of time, Mayor, I will go fairly quickly. But again, like I said, I would be remiss if I didn't thank them for their hard work. I'd also like to thank all of the members of the management team as well. We had a last-minute issue where we were trying to make the budget balance because we're required to present you with a balanced budget. And through a few phone calls, emails, and text messages, I was with the chiefs, both Chief Kelly and Chief Major as well, and some of the major department directors, we were able to get the budget in balance. But again, I'm very pleased to present it to you tonight. So this is our recommended budget. Let's see if I can get it to do right. Okay. Our total budget is $230 million with expenditures across all funds. Our general fund is $170,378,517. This represents a 1.9% increase in the general fund. With that, the recommended tax rate is 52.66 cents per $100 of evaluation. As the council knows, you have 6 priority areas that we work very hard to try to make sure that we provide services. One is economic development, public safety, beautification, greenways, infrastructure investment, affordable housing, and parks and recreation. In addition to those council priority areas, you've also established goals with your strategic plan. And those goals are safe and secure community, diverse and viable economy, high-quality built environment, desirable place to live, work, and recreate, sustainable organizational capacity, and resident engagement and partnerships. I like to look at this list on goals because if we have any programs in the city or any employees who are unable to identify how they add to either one of the council's top priorities, which are on the other page, or in the goal area, then we've done something wrong as a management team, as a staff, to help them understand how their work advances the goals of the city council. Similarly, we have worked very hard to try to orient the proposed budget along the lines of your 6 goals which are listed on this sheet. The first one are the safe and secure community. Complete construction of relocated Fire Station 12, which is along Hope Mills Road, financed $3.3 million for radio replacements, $465,000 for the city's share of design costs for the City-County Emergency Communications Center, $219,000 for the next phase renovations of the police department, which will include some lobby and main building enhancements, as well as an additional and renewing again the $25,000 we have for neighborhood traffic calming measures, which, as council knows, every year we have calls to use that money. It also provides a $374,000 designed for permanent Fire Station 16, which I believe is on Cedar Creek Road. That is goal 1, safe and secure community. These are just some of the superlatives in the budget. In addition, the budget also maintains all of the existing city service in appreciably the same way. Under Goal 2, it funds significant downtown redevelopment and construction of a baseball stadium to be financed in FY17, $1.1 million for redevelopment and site infrastructure, finances $3.6 million to construct a parking deck at City Hall, provides for $400,000 for land for a short-term parking solution, continues $100,000 annual support for the Fayetteville Cumberland Economic Development Commission, funds an additional $100,000 in downtown MSD to transition to an arts and entertainment focused area, repurposes $200,000 to create a small business revolving loan fund, and continues implementation and support for our LSDBE program. That is Goal 2, diverse and viable economy. Goal 3, it provides $4.15 million in annual street resurfacing funding, $2.26 million for stormwater drainage projects, $1.6 million to complete Legend Avenue, $950,000 to repair storm-damaged Sykes Pond Road, $650,000 in various sidewalk improvement projects, $870,000 for transportation improvement agreements in partnership with NCDOT, which is an opportunity when we're able to leverage our local monies and NCDOTs as well. It will provide for $300,000 worth of sidewalks on Rayford Road, a traffic signal at Strickland Bridge Road, as well as money for a bicycle master plan. That is Goal 3, high-quality built environment. Additionally, it funds professional engineer position to add additional staff capacity in our engineering and infrastructure department, $50,000 for review of our unified development ordinance, $10,000 for the development of design guidelines for historic district, and $208,000 to continue development and enhancements to our FayWorks system. Goal 4. The first Parks and Recreation bond issuance is scheduled for later this fall, which will include splash pads, existing park improvements, skateboard park, and Western Senior Center projects are all underway. $529,000 for operating costs for the new downtown transit center, $260,000 additional funding for the airport terminal renovation project, $621,000 of additional local funding for the Cape Fear River Trail, $100,000 for the affordable housing program, $100,000 to continue the partnership with Cumberland County to fund strategies to assist homeless citizens, and $70,000 to fund an update to the Parks and Recreation Master Plan. That is Goal 4, a desirable place to live, work, and recreate. Under Goal 5, it provides for the continuation of the police officer, firefighter, and emergency telecommunicator step plans, provides 2% merit pay increases for employees not on step plans, funds required increases for employer contributions to pension and medical benefits, funds $749,000 for a variety of technology and projects, including $361,000 for computer replacements, funds $286,000 to sustain facility maintenance programs, and funds $6.8 million for vehicle and equipment replacements as well. And that is Goal 5, Sustainable Organizational Capacity. Council's last goal, Goal 6, develop some ombudsman's group to enhance service delivery and provide for focused resolution of community issues. Allocates $27,000 for the development of an enhanced mobile app to access the city's website, $23,000 to continue the youth internship program, $20,000 for the biennial resident survey, $10,000 to convene a community anti-poverty summit, and continues next phases of the City Hall renovation, including the first floor customer service areas, which we mentioned at the last item. This is Goal 6, resident engagement and partnerships. The next item I'd like to briefly talk about are revenue enhancements. The property revaluation is probably the most important factor that has impacted our revenues for fiscal year 2018. The revaluation process is a reappraising of all properties within the county, and it must be done on at least every 8 years. The goal is to value properties at current market prices and equitably distribute the cost of local government among property owners. And again, it is required to be conducted every 8 years. As you council knows and the public as well, the projected taxable values fluctuated greatly in the last revaluation, whether it was in real property, where there was a variance, negative variance of 4.6%, personal property, which was up 1.75%, public service property, which are railroads, airlines, and the like, was flat. Motor vehicles saw an increase of 3.5%. Overall, our valuations went from about $14 billion to about $13 billion with a B, and that represents a negative 3.5% variance. That, of course, impacted our budget. And as part of the revaluation process, we have to do and calculate a revenue neutral tax rate. We must publish it. A revenue neutral tax rate is the rate that is estimated to produce revenue for the next fiscal year equal to the revenue that would have been produced by the current tax rate if no reappraisal had occurred. We then turn around and apply a natural growth factor, and in this case, that was 1.729% since the last reappraisal for Fayetteville, and we were able to identify that the recommended tax rate was 52.66. That number, as we shared in the small group meetings, may fluctuate somewhat as the county continues to do appeals of values, and we hope those will be wrapped up sometime early this summer or earlier. End of May, thank you. So this chart actually walks through what it looks like to actually calculate the revenue neutral tax rate. This is a simplified version, but we first started at the top line by looking at the taxable values that were in FY 2017. We then apply the levy to that tax rate, and then we apply the natural growth rate that I mentioned before of 1.72914%. And we come up with a figure. Then we come in, we take a look at the estimated taxable values for FY 2018. And again, that represents the $13 billion that I mentioned a moment ago. We identify what a revenue neutral tax rate would be to come up with the levy. And at the bottom, as you'll see, the difference between the projected FY 2018 levy at 52.66 cent for the tax rate is $72 million as compared to the $73 million in line 3 as well. But we will be happy to cover the revenue neutral calculations with the council in greater detail at your budget work sessions, which will start this Thursday. Some additional revenue highlights: the Central Business Tax District rate is recommended to remain at 10 cents, even though the revenue neutral tax rate, which again we're required to publish, is 10.26. The Lake Valley Drive MSD tax rate is recommended to increase to 33.6 cents from 33.6 cents to 39.4. It's because of projected 16.7% decline in taxable values following revaluation. And the tax rate increase is needed to generate revenues necessary to repay the general fund for loan by fiscal year 2021. That was issued to the Lake Valley Drive MSD. Some additional revenue highlights. The recommended budget shows a recommended increase by $4 to $48 per year for the residential solid waste fee. The fee adjustment is needed to fund the increase in the recycling collection contract, which is increasing $2.43 per year. The fee adjustment needed also helps offset the declining revenues from the sale of collected recyclables of 0.92. As we talked about during our small budget meetings with the City Council, there has been a decline in the demand for glass, and in order for us to continue to recycle glass, there is a cost to us to do that as well. The stormwater fee, recommended to increase by 50 cents per month equivalent residential unit to $4.25 per month, or an annual equivalent is $6 increase to $51 per year. Additional revenue highlights: general fund intergovernmental revenues. As you'll see, for 2017, sales tax is 0.9% above budget. In FY18, we're calculating to be 4.1% above FY17. And for utility taxes, we're 4.9% above this fiscal year, and we're projecting to only be 0.2% above FY 2017 and 18. General fund intergovernmental revenues. As you know, with the changes between the City and Public Works Commission, the payment in lieu of taxes, in FY 2017, that amounted to $9.9 million. In 2018, we're projecting that to be $10.4 million, or 4.6% above FY 2017, and that is based upon electric fund net assets at 2.5%. Additionally, as part of our discussions with Public Works Commission, there's also an economic development payment. It was $1.2 million in FY 2017, and we're also including $1.2 million in FY 18 as well. And those payments will continue through 2021 for a total of $6 million. FY 2018 includes $4.9 million in planned loan proceeds from vehicle and equipment purchases in the general fund and the environmental services fund. It includes $5.7 million appropriation from the general fund to balance non-recurring uses, and projected available fund balance at the end of FY 2017 is $20.4 million, or, as Mr. Arp mentioned earlier, 12.36%, which would be used in FY 2018 budgeted expenditures. The council's policies, as was also said earlier tonight, is 10%, and the balance beyond 10%, and the dollar amount is $3.7 million. The council has a goal of 12%, and the dollar figure above the 12% is $391,000. So some of the next steps that we have. Council has budget work sessions scheduled for the following 3 Thursdays, May 11th, May 18th, and May 25th. Those would be at 5 o'clock here at City Hall. The council has also asked tonight to set a public hearing for Monday, May 22nd. As I mentioned at the beginning, the recommended budget is available for public inspection online as well as in the city clerk's office. And and according to our schedule, but again, depending on council's wishes and interest, the council is scheduled to adopt a budget, the CIP, TIP, strategic plan, and fee schedule on June the 12th. So we have a very robust and very busy May. We'll be reaching out to you later, probably tomorrow, Mayor, to identify which topics the council would like to cover on the 11th, the 18th, and the 25th. We did catch tonight that there's an interest in talking about the limited obligation bonds for City Hall tonight, and we'll definitely add that to one of the meetings as well. And with that, sir, that is the proposed budget that we have for the council, and we look forward as a staff to discussing it with you in greater detail at the next 3 budget work sessions.
Thank you, Mr. Hewitt. Would you be sure, please, that these slides that you just showed are loaded not only into Granicus for the record, but also published on the website somewhere?
Be happy to do that.
Great.
They're already there.
Thank you very much. I'd like to be able to refer back to those if I had a way to get those. Questions, Mr. Moe?
So tonight, we received the One Over the World overview. We had our individual meetings last week. So we have meetings coming up the next 3 Thursdays. And so tonight, we pretty much just need to accept what we heard and then come prepared Thursday with detailed questions, and then also set the public hearing for May 22nd.
Yes, sir. So
I'll
that would
second
be,
Mr. Mullins' motion.
So the motion is to
yes.
set the public hearing for May 22nd and then come prepared to answer questions.
All right, that's motion by Mr. Moan, seconded by Mr. Art. Mr. Crisp, discussion?
Yes, sir. I just want to encourage,
Turn on your mic.
I got a host of questions that I will hold tonight. It's on. It's on. I'm just leaning back. I got a host of questions, but I will put them in writing tomorrow to save time on Thursday. And I'm encouraging council to do that rather than bombarding staff with 1,000 questions on Thursday night. We should put them in writing and give them time to come up with the answers. So I'll send you some questions tomorrow. Because I'm looking at $100,000 that I don't know whether we committed that to the Arts District or not. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Huh?
All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. We've had discussion, council, all in favor of setting the public hearing to May 22nd at the regular council meeting. Please vote at this point. Madam Clerk, that's unanimous. Council, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.